Imagine a world where each individual person knows exactly what food is best for their body. This diet would take into account things like weight, age, lifestyle, and even the composition of your gut microbiome. It would help prevent the development of different chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease. Does this sound too good to be true? Well, we're probably a lot closer than you think, because the largest, most robust study into how individuals respond differently to the same food is currently taking place. This is the PREDICT study, or personalized response to dietary composition. And the good news is, their first results are actually out. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through what I think are the 6 biggest takeaways. Let's start at the bottom with number 6. Your next diet very likely is going to be generated by a computer using artificial intelligence and machine learning. And this is great news because this means it will be a diet personalized for you. This will all be possible thanks to the researchers involved in the PREDICT study, where they're looking at how over 1,000 people react to different foods and meals. They're also measuring metabolic responses to that food, which includes measuring blood sugar, triglycerides, appetite, weight, and they're even looking at the composition of each individual person's gut microbiome. Then, using all this information, the scientists are going to teach the computers how to give personalized nutrition advice. Right now, this is done in what's called a Zoe score, and basically your score would help you understand what foods are good for your health, what foods are good for your gut microbiome, and what you should eat to stay at a healthy weight. Moving up to number 5. This is the fact that your diet can cause inflammation in your body. And what the scientists saw is that certain foods, when they're eaten, you actually have an inflammatory response. Your body has an inflammatory response. So depending on what we eat, our body can get a little bit inflamed. And if this happens a lot over a long period of time, like over a lifetime, this inflammation can lead to different diseases like diabetes and heart disease. In this study, they looked at the levels of inflammation in each participant's body after eating different meals. And what they saw is that foods or meals that are very high in carbs and fat cause more inflammation than meals that are more composed of fruits and vegetables. Number 4, your body's reaction to food is uniquely yours. What this study clearly shows is that people have different responses to the same food. For example, after each participant was given the same high carb, high fat meal, the changes in blood fat levels and sugar levels varied a ton between each participant. Remember, they were studying over 1,000 people, and the variation in blood fat levels was 103%. And blood sugars varied by 68%. I mean, these are huge deviations. And I think these couple graphs from the study really illustrate this point. So it shows the range of responses seen for those 1,000 participants, all after eating the same food, remember. And that darker line is the mean or the average, but you can obviously see there is really a wide range of responses, from everything from triglyceride levels, glucose levels, to people's insulin responses. This means that you should really pay attention to how your body feels after eating certain foods, because what these results are suggesting is that there's no one-size-fits-all diet. Any nutrition advice really needs to be personalized for each individual's biology. Number 3, weight gain isn't just a matter of extra calories. We love to simplify weight loss as a matter of, calories in versus calories out, right? If you're not losing weight, either you're eating too many calories or you're not burning enough calories during the day. But this isn't the full truth. Because what this study saw is that energy expenditure, or how many calories you burn, is highly individual and highly dynamic, but it also depends not only on the food you eat, but also the composition of your gut microbiome. which explains when people are trying to lose weight, it's just not as simple as counting calories. There's these other factors. Like I already mentioned, people react differently to the same food. And one factor the study looked into is how after eating a meal, each person experienced the drop in blood glucose level. And what they found was pretty interesting. So the participants that had the biggest blood glucose drop, they felt hungrier, ate sooner, and ate more calories at the next meal and throughout the rest of the day. And remember, all the participants ate the same standardized meal. This means that if we can help people avoid these big blood glucose drops, we can help them lose weight because we'll reduce how hungry they feel. So as it turns out, and as many of you probably know, weight loss is just not as simple as counting calories. Number 2 is huge. Your genes do not dictate your destiny. One thing these PREDICT trials have shown over and over is that your genetics play a very minor role in how your body responds metabolically after you eat a meal. And by response, I mean, what are your blood glucose levels, your triglyceride levels, or your insulin response? Really, your genes aren't playing that big of a role. What the scientists saw was that genetics, this only plays a minor role in our metabolic response to food. So for triglyceride response, these genes were responsible for about 4%, for glucose levels, 30%, and for insulin levels, 9%. So actually, many other factors are more important than your genetics. This includes your gut microbiome and the meal composition, just to name a few. And this is great news because it illustrates that our health and well-being, it's not solely predetermined by your genetics. This is something you can improve upon by your lifestyle, by what you eat, especially if you have these strategies tailor-made for your own biology. And finally, number 1, your gut microbiome holds the key to your metabolic health. The researchers found very strong links between the microorganisms in your gut and your response to eating food. They also found connections between what specific microorganisms are in your gut and how certain foods or dietary patterns can impact which microorganisms are thriving and growing. What the research showed is that diets rich in minimally processed foods, high in fiber, high in plant-based foods, these are linked to the good microorganisms in our gut, or the microbes that have a beneficial health effect for us. Whereas if you have a diet that's very high in processed food, this was associated with bad or unhealthy microbiomes that lead to negative health effects for us. Why do I think this is so important for you that it's my number 1 takeaway? Well, unlike your genetics, you can target and modify your gut microbiome. It's always changing. You have the ability to change it so that you can have long-term health and well-being. And I hope showing you these results, I've proved to you just how integral your gut microbiome is to your health.